Welcome to the Author Advantage series. This is session 9 in a series of 10 videos designed to help authors succeed, whether you're a first-time author or a New York Times bestseller. And the subject matter for today's session is one that I've been eagerly anticipating the entire time in which we've been developing this course, because Amazon advertising is a powerful tool for book publishers and authors. So today we're going to talk about the basics of Amazon advertising. Every author should have at least a basic understanding about Amazon ads work for books. Even if you're not going to run them yourself, if you're going to have your publisher run them, or if you're going to hire someone else to run them, it's important that you understand how this platform can reach the book buyers that you wrote for when you wrote your book. There are many ways to reach your intended audience, and it will be helpful for you to understand those basics so you can speak intelligently with the people that are running it for you. Or if you want to run some yourself, this will be a helpful tool to at least get you started in the right direction. At Amplify Marketing Services, we manage ads in all types of ad platforms and channels for book publishers and authors, including Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, Google, Hulu, Disney, Spotify, you name it, we've worked to promote books in those ad platforms. Often when we're given a budget to promote a book, we make a recommendation about where they should invest their ad dollars. And according to each book's unique market, our recommendations will vary. But the one constant is Amazon advertising. We always recommend that a good portion of their budget should be invested in this powerful and effective ad platform. Over the last 5 years, we've worked with 28 different publishers, and we've advertised on Amazon over 25,000 books. We've learned a lot over the years from investing this much in Amazon advertising for books, and I want to just share with you today a few of those basics to get you started in the right direction if you're going to run them yourself, or to help you understand so that you can speak intelligently with someone else who might run these for you. There are 4 sections in today's session. First, we're going to look through 4 reasons to invest in Amazon ads. Then we'll talk about the 3 types of Amazon ads, the 5 best targeting strategies for books within Amazon advertising, and then we're going to conclude by answering the question of whether you as an author should invest in your own ads or if you should rely on your publisher or an agency to do that for you. First, let's get to those 4 reasons to invest in Amazon advertising. I like to use alliteration when I can, and it happened to work out for this top section. Each of the 4 reasons to invest in Amazon advertising start with the letter P, and we'll start with the point of sale. Amazon ads intercept customers who are looking to buy a book, and they intercept them at the point of sale. When we consider the other ad platforms that are out there, most of them are interruption style ads, but this is an interception ad. We're not interrupting someone who's just scrolling through their social feed to be entertained or to pass the time. We're actually intercepting someone who is actively looking for a book that they want to purchase at that moment, related to a felt need that they have. And we can get the right book in front of the right people at the point of sale. And that is such a unique and powerful place to be. Book publishers have been paying a lot of money for special placements of their books in retail stores at the point of sale. You know that someone is a serious shopper when they're in the checkout line, and to be able to have your books in that area is a very effective piece of real estate in a store environment. And that's essentially what we have here. Amazon ads put your book in front of the customer at the point of sale when they're in a buying mindset and looking for a book like yours. It's just the perfect place and time to get in front of the people for whom you wrote your book. The second reason why it's important to invest in Amazon ads for books is that this is a pay-to-play retailer. If you don't put money behind ads for your books on Amazon, there are many places where your ideal customer will be that your book won't even have a chance to show up for, because all of the real estate available is an ad placement. Let's go through and show some examples of that now. Let's enter a few book-related searches on Amazon to see what the user experience is like for book buyers. Let's start with parenting books, which is a pretty broad search. We're not mentioning any author name or book titles. What I want you to see here is that every book on this page, or what marketers like to call above the fold, everything that appears before you scroll down further, is an ad. There are 3 books at the top by Focus on the Family, and then there are 4 books that are each individually placed by various publishers or authors. So if you want your book to show up for parenting book searches, You have to invest in ads or it won't have a chance to be there, because this is always going to be owned by ad real estate. So if you don't pay to play, you don't even have a chance of showing up simply by your book's merit. The first book that is there because it actually deserves to be there outside of an ad is this book here. The Whole Brain Child is Amazon's best-selling book for searches for parenting books, but you have to scroll down to see it. Is this just true for parenting books? Let's check and try another search or two. Let's check for cookbooks. Once again, we see what's called a sponsored brand ad at the top, and then the first 4 books are sponsored product ads. So there are no places for a book that deserves to be there because it's the best-selling cookbook on Amazon to be seen. So even if you have the best-selling book, if you don't invest something in ads, you won't have a chance to be seen above the fold. The top-selling book that's selling right now, just because it deserves to be there from its sales, is Snoop Dogg's From Crook to Cook. And let's check another one. Let's check thriller books. Once again, the top section is a campaign that is called a sponsored brand ad that one publisher is running, and it features 3 books. And then the next 4 books are all there by ad placement from sponsored product campaigns. The top selling book from searches for thriller books that deserves to be there simply by its merit is Home Before Dark, but it didn't even have a chance of showing up until people start to scroll down further. Let's do another category, self-help books. Same thing here. Top section is a sponsored brand campaign featuring 3 books, and the next 4 books that show up are all sponsored product ads, meaning that the first book that deserves to be there simply because of its sales history is Atomic Habits. So whenever someone is searching on Amazon for a type of book in a generic way, they're not listing an author name or a book title. This is generally what they're going to see. Everything on the first section of the page will be there by ad placement. It's easy to get bothered by that, but this actually isn't any different than how the book retail world has always worked. Anytime that you have a book in your line of sight in a retail store environment, it's usually there because the publisher had to pay to get that place. They have to pay to get their book on an end cap or a top shelf or a feature wall or a feature table or at the point of sale. Those don't come for free. Publishers have to pay to secure those places so that they're prominently seen. So anytime a book is easy to find in a store, it's there because a publisher paid for that. And now we see the same thing duplicated in the e-commerce environment. And it isn't only happening on Amazon, it's happening on Best Buy, it's happening on Walmart.com. You name it, there are a number of retailers that have moved to this model where they're monetizing their site through ad revenue by letting manufacturers and publishers sponsor the placement of their products and books. The third reason why we recommend investing in Amazon ads is proof. Amazon ads prove to Amazon that your book should show up when people are searching in relevant ways for your content. Sometimes we refer to this as trust or the trust factor because it's such an important thing to earn trust with Amazon. Amazon wants to sell books. They don't just want to sell ad placement. So they want to put the right books in front of the right people. So if your book has a history of selling each time someone searches for parenting books, it will rise earlier and earlier in search results. Well, Amazon ads let you establish that trust. They let you prove to Amazon that your book deserves to show up when people are conducting those searches. So initially when your book comes out, it will have a very small chance of showing up for a parenting search query. But if you use ads to intercept customers that are searching for parenting books, and if enough people buy it after seeing it, it will prove to Amazon this book should show up when this is searched. So there is no better way that we know of to jumpstart that trust or to prove to Amazon that your books are relevant and that they will sell than Amazon advertising. The fourth reason to invest in Amazon advertising is because of the propulsion that those ads give you. Think of number 3 with proof as being what it takes to first get the ball rolling with Amazon to trust your book that it will sell. But then you need to continue advertising to maintain that momentum, to keep it moving forward. We've seen this many times in our tests where we have had success in proving to Amazon that a book should show up with certain searches. through advertising. And then we've run a test where we stop the ads, and that momentum that the ad started is soon lost. Over the course of the next few weeks, it starts to lose what it had gained from the ads proving that it deserves to be there. And that's simply because there are so many others advertising on Amazon for books. Another book will prove to Amazon they deserve to be there earlier. So Amazon advertising is not only necessary to prove to Amazon that your book deserves to show up, but Amazon ads are also needed to continue to propel that book forward. If you let up on your advertising or stop it entirely, no matter how much you had proved to Amazon that your book was worthy to show up, over the next few weeks, it will lose that trust with Amazon. So in order to propel your book forward and continue that momentum, you'll have to continue advertising. Again, according to point 2 here, this is a pay-to-play retail environment. If you don't pay, you won't have a chance to sell your book. The key here is to make sure that you structure your ads in the best way so that they're efficient and effective and profitable. Often book publishers look at advertising costs as a line item expense, but in Amazon advertising, it's different. It's actually a cash generator. If they're run properly and they're getting a good return on their investment, every dollar that you put in can return $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 back. So those are the 4 reasons to invest in Amazon ads. We highly recommend it for every book in any genre from any author. Even best-selling authors and even books that are best-selling books can do better yet when ads are promoting them. Let's walk through the 3 types of Amazon ads that are most relevant for book advertising. Let's conduct a search. We will start with, let's say, best children's books. Everything that you see above the fold is an ad, but I want to demonstrate now what each of these ad types are. The top section is a sponsored brand campaign. These are the most expensive types to run, but they get the best real estate. They're at the top of the page and they have a lot of space to grab the eye. So these are some of the most sought after by book publishers who are aggressive in advertising on Amazon. You could feature up to 3 books as they've done here. And if you were to click on each of these book cover images, it would take you to the product detail page for that book. However, if you click this large image, and sometimes that will be a video, it will take you instead to that publisher's Amazon store. That's something that is much sought after as well, because in the Amazon store, the publisher controls the environment so that they see nothing but their books. This is not a place where ads can appear, so publishers can set this up with various navigation opportunities to guide people to the type of books that they're looking for. Typically, when a customer comes into an Amazon store like this from a publisher, you will see a higher average order value, and you'll also see a higher number of units ordered each time someone purchases. So we definitely want to get people into an Amazon store, but there are very few ways to do that. And one of the best ways is through these sponsored brand campaigns. So that's a sponsored brand ad. The next 4 examples here are all sponsored product ads, and they look very much like an organic placement. In other words, they don't look any different than the books that earned their own way there through their sales history. The only difference being the small print of sponsored. That's the only clue that would tell you that someone had to pay to get there. These are not only in the top 4, but they're scattered throughout the first and the following few search results pages. This example here is another sponsored brand ad. They're not only at the top of the page, they can also be throughout the search result pages. And in this case, this publisher is choosing to only promote 1 book, and they're using a book trailer to grab attention. Now let's take a look at the product detail pages for some of these books to see where sponsored display campaigns can be seen. The first one is right here, the 12 Beloved Disney Classic Little Golden Books box set. That is a sponsored display ad. Let's go through and see where we can find others. This is an ad right here. All of these books in this carousel are ads. This is an ad placement, and these videos are also ad placements. Let's look for another example. Here you have a sponsored display ad for The Trouble with Children. This Goodnight Little Turtle book is there because of a sponsored display campaign. And there's one other type that I want to jump around until we see it. There, it doesn't always show up, so let me find a good example of it. Now we see an example of another type of ad placement for sponsored display ads, and that's in this top bar. So Callie's Books is using this top of page placement on a product detail page through a sponsored display ad to feature their books. It's important to know the types of ad campaigns that you can run for books. So remember, there's sponsored brand, which is the most expensive. There's sponsored product, which looks like the most natural placements. And there's sponsored display, which shows up primarily on product detail pages to intercept a customer that you know is interested in your type of book as well. We have an article on our website about 10 targeting strategies for Amazon advertising, but I want to limit our discussion around this today to just 5. 5 of the best targeting strategies for book advertising on Amazon. Number 1 is branded. And what we mean by branded is when people are looking for your name as an author or for the title of your book. Now, why would we recommend investing in that type of ad? Aren't people going to find it anyway? That is a valid concern, and that's why we recommend limiting your ad spend that goes to branded searches to just 10 or 15% of your total ad spend. But the reason that we recommend investing in branded searches at all is that it protects your book from being pushed further down the page by other competitors who are bidding on your name, your book title, or your type of book. So just to secure the placement that your book deserves when people are looking for it, it's important to have a branded strategy. And since the conversion rate will be high on those campaigns because you're giving them exactly what they're looking for you and your book, those ads will be more efficient. They actually won't cost very much at all. It's much cheaper for you to win the bid for books that you've written or for searches for your name than it is for a competitor that's trying to intercept them. So they're so efficient, they're so cheap to run, and they're so effective that it is worth investing 10 to 15% of your ad budget on branded searches. The second strategy for how you can target your audience through Amazon advertising is topically. Think through all the ways that people might search for a book like yours, especially searches that don't include any authors' names or any book titles. What would they look for? Is it parenting books? Is it books for 3-year-olds? So those broad topical searches can be a great way to intercept people who don't have a preference. And if they see your book and it has a compelling cover and book title, that might just be enough to persuade them to click and then to buy your book. So topical searches are just those what we call high volume searches that are very broad, and they're coveted because there are so many people searching that way. And if you manage your ads well and optimize them, you can get those to work and to be successful for you. The third way to intercept the audience for which you've written through Amazon advertising is by targeting competitors. So this is when you're able to intercept people looking for other authors' names or book titles that you consider relevant to your content. With careful attention, these can be very successful, and you can prove to Amazon that your book should show up when someone is searching for a different book, because it's so in line with that audience that they'll often buy yours as well. There are many ways to target competitors. You can do it by their book title and their author name. You can also do it by their ASIN, and by categories is another way that you can intercept competitor books. And that leads us to the fourth strategy, which is category-based targeting. You're probably familiar with BISAC codes. Well, Amazon has their own version of BISAC codes, and that is their book categories. There are many hundreds of categories just in books alone. And you can choose some of them. Not all of them are available for advertising, but they keep including more and more. And you can choose all of the categories that are relevant for your book and target those. And what that does is it gives you a really broad range of targeting your audience, so that whenever someone is searching for a book that Amazon considers to be in a certain category, you can make sure that your book shows up in the search results page and on the product detail pages of those competitors' books. So category-based targeting is a very effective one, and it's useful because even if you thought of 100 competitor author names and book titles to target specifically under point 3, there's going to be other books you just didn't think of, maybe some new ones that were published that are really in line with your audience and content, or just from the millions of books that are out there, there might be others that you would never think to include in an intentional strategy. But category-based targeting will cover them all. Whenever someone is searching for any book within a category that Amazon considers relevant, you can have your book show up in those search results and on those product detail pages. Another very effective way to intercept your target audience is through audience behavior targeting. I don't want to get too much in the weeds of this, but one of the ways that you can target based on audience behavior is you can retarget everyone who visited one of your product detail pages but didn't buy it. So that can be a really effective strategy. If someone simply forgot about your book, but they were thinking about buying it, that can get the book back in front of them again, and hopefully they'll decide to purchase it. Audience behavior-based targeting is something Amazon is continuing to expand. There are already a lot of ways to leverage this type of advertising now, but that will only continue to grow as they build this out more. Not only can you retarget those who visited your book detail page but didn't buy it, you can do the same for books similar to yours. So you can isolate an audience that viewed products that are like yours and get in front of them as well. There's also the ability to target based on lifestyle and interest and life events and in-market categories. There are so many details. The audience behavior-based targeting in Amazon is in itself a super powerful tool. It's certainly more powerful than the options we have in other ad platforms. Even in Facebook's heyday, when advertisers had so many specific detailed targeting options for audiences, they didn't have the depth of targeting that's now available here in Amazon audience behavior. There are thousands and thousands of ways to structure ads within Amazon for books, and there are many other targeting strategies that can be implemented. But these are the 5 most popular methods and strategies that we use for book advertising on Amazon. I'd like to close by giving you 4 factors to consider when it comes to managing your own ads for your books. Should you run ads, or should you depend on your publisher or an agency to do that for you? Here again, I'm going to try some alliteration. I cheat a little bit on point 2, but all 4 of these incorporate the letter C prominently. The first factor that we recommend taking seriously is the complexity of managing ads. If you don't have experience running ads on any platform, this might be a challenge for you. Amazon ads are complex, so are Facebook ads, and so are Google ads. And if you haven't run ads before, you might get overwhelmed and you might set up the ad incorrectly, or at least not according to best practices, and then quickly find that they're not efficient or profitable for you to run. Amazon ads are profitable, but it is a complex ad platform. Things are always changing. It's very dynamic, and we love that. They're always rolling out new features and improving things. But since there are thousands of ways to structure an ad, sometimes just one box left checked or unchecked can affect whether a campaign works or not, or whether you're choosing the right campaign type or campaign setting. So since Amazon ads are complex, if you were to get serious about being aggressive in this ad platform, that's a factor to consider. The second factor related to this question of whether you should advertise your own books is that you will have incomplete tools compared to the competition. Publishers and advertising agencies have access to the full suite of features within Amazon ads, but authors are only given a limited set of those features. So you won't have all the tools at your disposal. You won't be able to leverage every type of ad real estate. So you'll have a disadvantage there that if you have a traditional publisher and they were to manage it for you, they would not have that obstacle in front of them. And then the last factor to consider when asking this question of whether you should run your ads is the competition. This is specifically relevant for those who work with a traditional publisher that is committed to running ads for your books. If you set up your own campaigns and they're running their campaigns, they will bid each other up. So it will make your ads less efficient and their ads less efficient if you're running ads for the same book at the same time. So due to that competition that your ads would create with your publisher, that's a factor that could steer you towards just letting them or an agency manage your ads for you. Although the first 3 factors tend to steer you towards depending on your publisher or an agency to manage ads for you, the 4th factor is one that might steer you to running your ads yourself. And that is your confidence level in your publisher. Do you have confidence that your publisher understands the Amazon ad platform for books? When you talk to them about these basics of Amazon advertising that you've learned from this session today, and you see blank stares like they just don't get it, they don't use those methods, they don't use those strategies, or you can tell that they really don't do enough advertising in Amazon to bring the results that you know your book will need, that can be a factor that might encourage you to run the ads yourself or to hire an agency to run them for you. If you don't have the confidence that they know what they're doing and that they have the experience needed to know which levers to pull, which boxes to check, which campaign types to use, and what strategies to leverage, then it might not be wise to trust them with your ad dollars. After working with 28 publishers over the last 5 years, I can tell you that there are varying degrees of excellence in managing Amazon advertising within these companies. So this is a valid factor for you to consider. Consider the level of confidence that you have in your publisher to manage ads for you. And if they have an agency that manages for them, ask questions about that as well. Ask about the experience that agency has. If you don't have confidence that your publisher has the skills and experience and expertise to do Amazon advertising for your books, we would be honored to help. Feel free to introduce them to our website, to review our content, and even to reach out to explore a potential partnership with us for ad management. We have unique advantages as a marketing agency in that we've advertised over 25,000 books. We've learned a lot from all of those experiences, and that scale at which we operate lets us manage ads more efficiently and effectively. And the cost of our ad management service to a publisher is far outweighed by the benefits of the growth that our ads bring. So if you'd like to ask your publisher to strike up a conversation with us, please send them our way. We would appreciate that. In session 10, the last session in this series, we're going to talk about some free software tools that every author should use. I hope you'll join us for that. Well, thank you for watching session 9. We'll see you next time.